What's going on, everyone? So, recent reports came out that the Los Angeles Lakers are looking for more perimeter help and appears to be the priority. Dan Wokey and the LA Times came out with a bunch of articles, a bunch of different information, kind of been going through all of the little details and stuff like that and bringing you all up to speed as always. But in that, talked about, the center position. Walker Kessler appears like he may potentially be off the market. See how much that is. Did a whole video on that. Go check out that video if you want the details. Because, look, we dealt with this same issue with the Russell Westbrook trade in Utah. I mean, like verbatim. And ultimately that got done. So we'll see. Obviously, this is a different scenario, different situation. Lakers might not even wait around at this point. But does look like the Lakers are kind of pivoting to a direction of kind of perimeter help. Right, going and getting that 3-and-D guard or that 3-and-D wing, Kyle Kuzma, Jeremy Grant, John Collins, whatever, right? Like all the guys, the usual suspects. And then also or the guard position in like a Bruce Brown or Malcolm Brogdon or Alonzo Ball or Colin Sexton, something like that. There's options for the Lakers at both spots. The center position is something that I've talked about before. I think if you can solve the perimeter issue, you solve like 90% of your things. I have maintained since the offseason, the Lakers' biggest priority and need is the perimeter, right? Yes, getting another backup center would be ideal, but it's not the biggest need in my opinion, right? Christian Coloco, I prefer over Jackson Hayes. I just think he's more disciplined, kind of better in position, and he's just a better defensive player, right? I think he's serviceable. Jackson Hayes is great, but in small doses. Also, once you get to the playoffs, you're not going to be running your backup center 30 minutes a game. You're going to be running him probably 8 minutes because Anthony Davis is probably going to play 40 minutes at the center spot, right? So you just need somebody that can come in and be serviceable on a nightly basis, play in doses, right? Again, I'm not saying you don't get a center if you can, but I think it's the last priority. And depending on the center it is, like a Day'Ron Sharpe, you should be able to get cheap. You could probably get, literally you could get a Bruce Brown, Kyle Kuzma, and still go get a Day'Ron Sharpe if you wanted. So to me, the Lakers prioritizing the perimeter is something that I've talked about since day one, right? Like, because it's the bigger need. I know a lot of people look at like the Rockets game as the most recent example. People are like, man, look what Steven Adams did. One, Steven Adams does that to everybody, right? That's like the entire reason Steven Adams is in the NBA, right? Doesn't really give you much offensively or anything. All his points come from offensive rebounds and putbacks. He's just like the biggest, just strongest guy. I mean, Aquaman, right? Like for a reason. The guy is a stone, right? Like it's crazy, right? So he does it to everybody. How many teams have that guy? Right? People look at like the Denver Nuggets, right? And Jokic. Nobody's stopping Jokic, right? Minnesota had a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year and another 7-footer alongside him who actually defended Jokic better than the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert. And Jokic averaged 30, 11, and 8 on those two guys. 2 7-footers. And one was a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. And Jokic averaged 30, 11, and 8 against them. You're not slowing down Jokic. But guess what? Our problem has never been Jokic. Anthony Davis outplayed Jokic in this last playoff series. And the Lakers still lost. Why? Because Jamal Murray plays like he's Michael Jordan in his prime. And Michael Porter Jr. plays like he's prime Klay Thompson. It's ridiculous. So if you solve the perimeter, you solve all your issues. The rebounding. So many people talk about the rebounding. Steven Adams had 7 offensive rebounds. Right? They had 18 total. That means 11 offensive rebounds were given up not to Steven Adams. If you take away Steven Adams from the equation, which, again, only one team has a Steven Adams, take Steven Adams away, right? What were all the other offensive rebounds? Long ball rebounds gathered by perimeter guys. Jalen Green had 3. You had, who else was it? Was it Easton or something? Or no, Tate had like 2 or 3, right? You had several guys that had 2 or 3 offensive rebounds because what was happening? They're shooting threes, ball comes up, and they just go up and get it, right? Or you get the batted where, the ball comes, and they bat it out, And then their guys were just chasing those balls down, getting them, securing them, and then second chance points. And they have to win foot speeds against, or foot races, 50-50 balls against Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, and then eventually guys like Gabe Vincent, like you've seen all year, and D'Angelo Russell pre-trade. If you go get that perimeter help, you're going to solve a lot of those things. Look, offensive rebounds happen. Every team gives up offensive rebounds. But most of the Lakers' offensive rebounds and issues stem from the lack of perimeter, right? Because one, they can't defend well enough out on the perimeter, and teams shoot more threes on the Lakers than anybody. I think it's like an average of like 38 threes a game or something like that, something crazy like that. The teams are shooting on average against the Lakers because they know, right? They can't defend out on the perimeter. They're going to give up a bunch of wide open looks. And then on top of that, we just have to win a foot race, right? We just have to win 50-50 balls. But look at Dorian Finney-Smith and what he's doing and his impact. Imagine if you got another guy like that out on the perimeter. Right? Imagine if you got a Bruce Brown or a Kyle Kuzma or one of these guys like that. It's gonna help you better defend, right? You can run different schemes. Like so many people talk about the defense, right? Which defense has been much better lately. They're like 10th, I believe, right now, or 11th in total defense. But right, like big concern is like just the perimeter defense and issues like that, right? Well, why does JJ always have everyone switching? Because we don't have a choice, right? Like teams, if you don't kind of switch over, you don't have like Rui Hachimura can't stay in front of guys. Rui Hachimura gets blown by a regular. Rui Hachimura can't move laterally. So if he gets he can't navigate and fight through those screens. He doesn't know if I need to go over or under. He doesn't understand any of those things. Right? He's not good. He doesn't navigate on the defensive side of things well. Max Christie, as great as he's been defensively, we talked about, he needs to be your backup because he at times doesn't navigate screens well. At times he has a hard time getting over screens, fighting through those screens, right? He's 21 years old. He's been fantastic. I don't want to take away from him. He will learn. He will get there. He'll get better. He's been great. But the truth is the truth, right? If you can get somebody that does, right? Go back and watch old Jared Vanderbilt defensive sequences. He can recover. He knows when to go over, under. Even if he does make the wrong decision, he's quick enough, long enough, and agile enough to get back. If you have a Bruce Brown or say a Kyle Kuzma or something like that, well, now you can run different defensive schemes. You can run different defensive play design because now you don't have a liability in Austin Reeves out there, a liability in Rui Hachimura out there. LeBron at times take possessions off, although he's been much better defensively as well. I don't want to take away from him. But, you go down the list of these guys, and then Jackson Hayes can't block shots, and it becomes a problem. But if you have 3 guys out there that can all switch 1 through 4, and now when you do switch everything, it'll just look better. And 2, now you can run, like when you trap guys, you have multiple pieces that can recover, right? Like we've seen sequences, like even in the Rockets game, where like Dorian Finney-Smith will come to help to set the trap. They'll kick the ball out. It's one swing pass, and then Rui's just not quick enough to adjust and shift or close out, and then it's a bucket. But if you get guys that can, you get another. Look at the ground that Dorian Finney-Smith covers, right? Imagine if you got another guy like that. Imagine if you were able to get another just solid 3-and-D contributor, a guy even like Bruce Brown, who is quick enough to recover, who is quick enough to adjust, who can close out, who does navigate screens well and can even set hard screens. Like your offense is different, your defense is different, everything is different. The perimeter solves, again, 90% of your things. Again, I'm not saying you don't get a center if you can't. But if you told me it was, Bruce Brown and a Jonas Valanciunas, or like a Bruce Brown and a John Collins or a Kuzma or something like that, I'd rather have that. And then just ride it out with Christian Koloko. Try to see if you can unload Hayes and Brandon Koloko, or just leave Hayes as like your third big, right? Because Koloko would be fine in spot minutes. And also, when you do go small, which the Lakers have been doing, and it's had some success in some areas, but here's the thing. Again, you're running Rui as like your 3 or your 4, and that's fine if you have another big guy and he's your 4. But when he's not, It becomes a problem because he doesn't have the foot speed to adjust and do what you need, right? But if you were to have, say, a Kyle Kuzma, just use him as an example. Well, now if you have, say, a Bruce Brown, Kyle Kuzma, or Bruce Brown, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kyle Kuzma, LeBron James, and a Max Christie out there, and you go small, right? Well, you have all 5 guys that can recover. They can switch. They can all team rebound. They can all, because they can get from their guy to the basket in quick enough time before the opponent can, or at least at the same time, and then it's, battle for a 50-50 ball. Rui can't do those things. Some of these guys can't do those things. Austin Reeves can't do those things. So when you do go small, you can put better units out there if you have the better guys. Right now, they're going small with like 2 or 3 guys out there that don't have the foot speed and athleticism to make up the ground for the lack of a big man, right? So it doesn't, it works at times when guys are cooking and hitting shots and doing everything like that, or you're going up against a smaller team or whatever, it's fine. But when you're going up against a team, example, Steven Adams, right? You saw Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura and LeBron James trying to crack, but Rui Hachimura's too slow, right? He's clunky out there Steven Adams is that type. Steven Adams literally beat him to a basketball on a live ball, just literally beat him to the basketball. If you had somebody more athletic, if you had multiple guys that were athletic, that could get up, that could do that, you see the Houston Rockets, multiple athletes just going after the ball. Everyone, wherever the ball is, they're all just sending it and going up for it. Lakers don't have that luxury right now, but if you can get that luxury, you solve that problem. Perimeter is my number one priority. I've said it since the offseason. I've maintained it this entire time. I've said, again, if you can get a center in the process, fine. If you can get a Day'Ron Sharpe and he's cheap, $3-4 million, whatever, and you can just basically swap a Jalen Hood-Schifino for him, perfect. No worries. Make that happen. Get that done. And then you could still go do the other moves. Trade Rui, trade Gabe, trade whatever. Go get Bruce Brown, Dorian, but whatever, right? But you got to fix the perimeter. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you think yes, the perimeter is the number one priority? That is the most important thing. That's the thing you got to get done. Disagree with me and think no, it's not it. You got to do X, Y, and Z. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.